Welcome everyone to Train Tuesday. I am your host Jim Wigan with Athearn and so glad that you've joined us. If you like our channel, do us a favor. Go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel. Like this video, comment on this video, and while you're at it, hit the notification bell. That way you're notified every time a new video like this drops into your feed. Well, if you've noticed, the August announcements seem to have a lot of cabooses in there. You wouldn't be wrong. There are a lot of cabooses, and today we're going to talk about the ICC cabooses for 3 different railroads. We're also going to talk about some fire equipment you may want to add to your HO scale layout. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with some model train goodness. We're going to start by talking about the ICC Caboose for 3 specific roads. Now, the one that's pictured is not the one that we're talking about specifically. It's just there as a representative of what we're going to be offering. So the Muskogee Company holding firm, which controlled the Kansas, Oklahoma, and Gulf, Midland Valley, and Oklahoma City-Ada-Atoka railways, found itself in need of new cabooses back in 1951. They placed an order for 15 steel cars from the International Car Company, built as ICC job number 104 between June and September of 1952. Now, the cars featured leaf spring swing motion trucks, apex roof walks, 4 bunk beds, conductor's desk, and a 40-gallon water tank. These cars were a big improvement over the existing wooden and home-built cars, and as such allowed many older cabooses to either be placed into maintenance away service or retired altogether. In 1954, a horizontal white trim stripe was added to the cars, and the safety appliances were repainted from white to silver. By the late 1950s, the Sooner to and through the Southwest slogan had been applied to the cars. As the Muskegee's roads stock came under the ownership of Missouri Pacific in 1964, the cabooses began to be renumbered into Missouri Pacific colors. The cars were eventually renumbered into the T&P series 13231 through 13245. In addition, they received a rebuilding at Sedalia, Missouri shops during 1965 through 1966. At that point, they received radio equipment and an oil-burning stove with a 60-gallon tank, which caused one of the side windows to be plated over. Later in life, the cars were numbered into Missouri Pacific Series 12231 through 12245, and they were regulated to local, yard, or transfer service only. As of 1985, only 2 remained in the Missouri Pacific system. Now, KONG and Missouri Pacific modelers can add a truly Genesis quality caboose to their roster, with appropriate markings and road numbers for a variety of modeling eras. Now, I want to go on and say this was rephrased from Pitts JJ's 1985 book, The KONG International Car Cabooses, specifically pages 5 through 15. Roughly paraphrasing and just giving the author credit. Now, the one that you see on your screen, this is just a representative of the Athearn Genesis ICC Caboose. However, I've got good news. If you're a Burlington Northern fan and you're in need of caboose, this caboose is actually in stock at your dealers right now. If you'd like to order this caboose, the item number is ATHG 78364. Again, that item number is ATHG 78364. Now let's talk about these 3 railroads that we're offering this month. You have until Friday, August 30th to place your pre-orders with a dealer of your choice. So we're going to kind of see an evolution here of the Kansas, Oklahoma, and Gulf Railway cabooses. This group of all-steel cabooses was built in 1952 for the KONG. They were the first all-steel cars on the road, and they represented a huge step forward in comfort and safety from the previous wood cars. As the years progressed, the grab irons and the end cages were soon changed from white to silver. A white stripe was added, and the Sooner to and through the Southwest slogan was added. We've decided to offer several era-specific versions of these cars to satisfy the needs of the modelers. So what we've got here is representative from June to September of 1952, car number 1539, and car number 1545. Here we can see the horizontal white stripe has been added, just one of the things that you'll notice. This is the late 1950s version. We're offering two road numbers in this paint scheme, number 1541 as well as 1550. And then finally, representing 1964, this is 1543. Now, features that are specific for the KCG Caboose include wind deflectors, window awnings, toilet drain pipe, smoke jack with bracing, and accurate window arrangements, 4 windows per side. Now, it's important to note we're kind of in the modern era, if you will, of cabooses, but even though these were produced by ICC, they still had specifications for the railroad, and these window arrangements are specific to the KCG. Now let's go forward in time and start talking about the Missouri Pacific. So the Missouri Pacific took control over the KCG in 1964, and they gradually began repainting these into Missouri Pacific Caboose Red with their famous buzzsaw herald. What followed was a really messy transition of lettering and numbering. Between 1965 and 1966, Missouri Pacific rebuilt these cabooses, and they added such things such as radio equipment. They replaced the coal stove with an oil burning stove, requiring a blanking of one of the windows for the oil tank to be positioned inside. Traditional side-mounted lanterns were replaced with rear marker lights and a white light for backing and train inspections. Now, a sharp eye will also note that the underslung toolbox replaced with battery boxes as well as heralds added to the end platforms. Another renumbering saw further revisions as roof walks were removed and the end ladders were truncated. So here we've got mid-1960s era cabooses. We've got two road numbers for you. They've got some specific details. The first one at the top of your screen, 13245, represents a mid-1960s era. Now that still has its roof walk and full ladder. It does have the high-mounted red light as well as the low white light, and these will include the standard car swing motion trucks. Likewise, caboose number 13239, it still has its roof walk and has a full ladder, high-mounted red light and low white light, standard car swing motion trucks. Now, once we move into the 1970s, we see some subtle changes. Here we've got car number 12245. This is a late 1970s. So you'll notice that the roof walk has been removed. The ladder has been shortened. They have removed the toilet drain, and this is going to include the low white inspection light, high mounted red light, blanked marker lights, and ride control trucks. Now, features specific to these three Missouri Pacific cabooses include the Sedalia Shop's battery box, operating end cage lights per prototype car number, and of course the firecracker antenna and ground plane. Finally, one of these cabooses found life further down the road with the Green Bay and Western, and this represents the era of 1981 till its end in 2003. Now, Green Bay and Western 112 was acquired in 1980 from Missouri Pacific and began service the following year. It was initially used on the Plover local servicing paper mills in central Wisconsin, but due to increased boat train traffic, it was used to create a second section for the trains providing service for the Lake Michigan ferry service. It was rostered on both the Wisconsin Central and Canadian National before being donated to a museum and unfortunately presumably scrapped. So if you are a Green Bay and Western fan, here is your chance to own a caboose that was used approximately 1981 through 2003. It's going to have swing motion trucks with an axle generator and operating roof beacon and DCC mode. Now let's talk about the details of the Athearn Genesis ICC Caboose. There's two versions that you can purchase. There's the LED light equipped version, and this model will feature LED lighting for long life and reliable operation. It'll also have an onboard DCC lighting decoder. Now this operates in both DCC and analog DC with lighting functions controllable in DCC. Various classes will feature single or dual roof markers or end mount marker lights, and this is per the prototype and/or era. So keep in mind, not all cars have marker lights. And LED interior marker lights do have brightness control now. Now, if you've got questions on your particular caboose of what lighting features are offered, you can go to athearn.com, select the new announcements tab, and look for the ICC Caboose, and you can open and even download the PDF that we have on these specific models. You can also get the sound equipped models, and on top of the LED lighting functions, you get the air horn or train line air whistle as appropriate. Clickety clack with optional wheel flat spot sounds, brake set release sounds, including retainers and brake squeal, the big hole emergency brake application sound, handbrake tie down and release, adjustable flange squeal, and the air horn and bell sounds work seamlessly with the Soundtrack's locomotive sound decoders. These support advanced consisting in DCC, full DCC functions available when operated in DCC mode, and all functions are NMRA compliant in DCC mode. So there you have it. You've got until Friday, August 30th, to place your pre-orders on any of these cabooses. These were highly requested, and there's a lot of happy people right now that are getting ready to pre-order these. Let's switch gears a little bit and let's talk about fire suppression. So this is the Athearn HO scale Ford C Telequrt fire truck. These were popular trucks throughout the 1970s into the 80s, and depending on where you're at, you probably could still see them in the 90s into the early 2000s. Now, these were designed to bring the maximum amount of fire suppression right to where it was needed most. The Telequrt telescoping boom raises to place the fire monitor into the thick of the action. This exacting replica is sure to fit right in with any HO fire department, perfect for layouts set in the 1970s into the 1980s era. Now, the item that is pictured has long since been released many years ago. However, you may still be able to find one of these out there if you really like this version here. The item number is ATH91854. Again, that is ATH91854. Now let's talk about the 6 different fire departments that we're offering for the month of August. We're going to start with a couple of famous ones. First, we've got the Chicago Fire Department as well as Washington, D.C. These paint schemes are pretty much representative of how they were painted in the 70s into the 1980s. Another big city for you is San Francisco. And then for those that maybe are modeling a different era, maybe they have a smaller town, we're offering the Tri-State Volunteer, a little bit more generic, a little bit more for what you would see in a smaller town. We didn't stop there though. We've got 2 more for you folks that are modeling a smaller town, not a big major metropolis. A couple of versions here. We've got the Fire Protection District as well as County Fire. Just generic enough so that if you want to decal them up for your own town or tri-county area, you can. A lot of folks do kit bash these. Now, let's go back to the picture of the earlier example and talk about the features of this model. These are really highly detailed models for 1/87th scale. They are licensed officially by Ford Motor Corporation, and this is a medium wheelbase chassis with a conventional Ford C cab. They will feature fully extending Telequrt arm with fire monitor and photo etch ladders, molded cab interior with separately applied steering wheel, clear molded windows, and of course vinyl tires. Super detailed for their size. You're going to want to pre-order these because if you don't, they tend to sell out rather quickly. Fire trucks in HO scale of just about any era are always in demand. So like I said, you're going to want to order those with your dealer of choice, whether online or if you're fortunate enough to have a local hobby shop. You want to make these pre-orders by Friday, August 30th. Well, that's all I've got for you on this episode of Train Tuesday. I hope everyone is enjoying their summer and enjoying the dog days of summer by getting into the workshop and working on the layout or whatever projects you may have for your layout. Until next time, I want everybody out there to be happy, be healthy, be safe, do some good modeling, and above all, high greens. Take care, everyone.